If you struggle with looking in the future, that causes uncertainty and stress and anxiety potentially, this one's for you. So I used to always look in the future. I used to go to bed thinking about what tomorrow is, what next week is, my goals in 10 years, and getting super excited to the point that I couldn't even sleep because I was always kind of thriving on that uncertainty and anxiety, which I now know was just me being very, very anxious and not a particularly great place to go to sleep with. And over time, I would just constantly think about the future, the future, the future, which would make me less think about the present day and really put me in a scenario where I didn't get to be grateful around about what I'm doing right now. It was always about what is in the future. And that would create this next mentality, and always thinking about what could happen here or what the potential of that is. Not always a positive. But a wise lady said to me is that we were going through some of the scenarios that I was thinking about and the uncertainty that I was questioning. And I've used it before, but I didn't use it too consistently. Is that what if you question your scenario with "and what if"? And if you continuously question that scenario, and what if, and what if, and what if, and what if, you then get that worst case scenario. And for the most part, uncertainty and stress will only come if you're normally thinking the worst of everything, right? You're always thinking that, oh my God, this might happen or this might happen. But you're never really looking at what's the minimal viable thing that you can accept of that stress and that anxiety. So if you delegate down, so you're thinking, oh my God, if I don't do this or this person does this, it's going to create this, this, and this. It's like, and what if it does? And what if? And what if? And you play out that scenario all the way to the point of that you create that worst case scenario that you're happy to deal with. If this is the worst case scenario, this is the worst thing that could happen. Could I deal with it? How would I deal with it? And once you found that worst case scenario, the uncertainty and anxiety will go away because you've been able to accept that layer. You've been able to accept what that means, and therefore the thing that is pent up in your head doesn't mean anything anymore. It's not on a pedestal. So if you're currently looking into the future, creating that level of uncertainty within your own brain, just play out that and what if scenario, and you'll soon find out that it's not as bad as what you think, but you have to go through that process yourself to find that. And over time, looking proactively at your scenarios, looking at what you're thinking, and always planning for that worst case scenario will help you thrive in those mid grounds as well, where generally the most part is that it never is the worst, but it's also never the best. So finding that middle is key so that you can find that end of the spectrum on what is the worst case scenario. Like if I lost my business tomorrow, the worst case scenario would be I would go and do personal training in a gym somewhere. That's my worst case scenario. Or I would start a new business. That's the worst case scenario. I can accept that. I know what I need to do to make that happen. And therefore that is the worst. So anything of this business that I have right now is fine, is great because I have it, and that's not the worst case scenario. So by utilizing that as a tool will help you massively.